Welcome, pioneers. I'm Trig Marin, Chair of the Board of Trustees, and for the past 9 years I've had the pleasure of working with our Chancellor, Bob Coombe, as he has steadily driven DU to greater excellence. As you know, Bob is retiring later this summer. Today we are announcing his successor, Dr. Rebecca Chopp, coming to DU from her presidency at Swarthmore College, the number 3 liberal arts college in the nation, as ranked by U.S. News. She was previously a transformational president at Colgate. Consequently, Dr. Chopp has the distinction of driving significant improvements at 2 of the nation's top 20 schools, 2 schools in this case with distinctly different cultures. She was also quite successful as provost at Emory. And that was during a formative period at that very highly regarded, complex research university. We all know that higher ed faces a fast-changing environment. To answer that challenge, Dr. Chopp brings to DU renowned strategic, administrative, and personal skills, along with a passion for community and for financial development. But before you hear from Rebecca, I will ask Doug Scrivener, who chaired the search and will succeed me as board chair on July 1, to describe the process which led the University of Denver to choose Dr. Chopp. Doug chaired a remarkably professional, very inclusive, and very successful process, and he did it in a very tight time frame. Doug.
Good morning. Thank you, Trig, and thanks to all of you who are here today and those of you watching or listening around the world. When Bob announced his retirement in January, we commenced a search process that culminates today. I had the pleasure of leading that effort. That process included a dedicated search committee that worked well together and worked hard, a search consultant who was the best in the business, listening sessions throughout the month of February. We had multiple town hall meetings and conference calls, a dedicated website, and an email mailbox, all to get as much input as we could from the entire DU community. We received input from hundreds, if not thousands, of people who cared deeply about this institution. And we made some changes to the position description as a result of that input. At those sessions, we described the charge of the search committee. We said we had an aggressive, but we thought, even if no one else did, an achievable timetable. We said we would cast our net widely and reach out to as many people as we could to get ideas and names. We said we would recruit actively, not just await applications, and not necessarily take no for an answer. We said we would not and could not settle. We needed to get this search right and to find the right person to lead DU forward at this time of great opportunity. We attracted a great pool of candidates, so good that we had to modify our anticipated search process to keep it confidential even longer than we had initially thought. This was a reflection of the reputation of the University of Denver, not only for what it has accomplished, but for what it can be. Our search and our assessment was anchored in the 3 key priorities that we defined in the position description. The board said we needed a new chancellor who could, 1, lead and manage change in a shifting landscape, and in the words of the Strategic Issues Panel report, unsettling times for higher education. 2, enhance the reputation of DU locally, nationally, and internationally, and drive relationships with other institutions needed to accomplish our goals, and, oh, by the way, raise our game in fundraising and engaging our alumni. And 3, enhance our culture of assessment, analytics, and accountability to drive academic excellence in academic outcomes and financial strength. We had a great process, but ultimately, as important as process is, results are what matters. You will see for yourselves in a moment how well we did. In closing, some thank yous to an extraordinary search committee. Our trustees, Cappy Shopneck, Joy Burns, Pat Livingston, Navin Demond, Denise O'Leary, and John Miller. From the faculty, Scott Luteniger, Art Jones, Joe Angelson, and Erica Chenoweth. And from senior staff, Peg, Bradley Doppus, and Tom Willoughby. In particular to Cappy Shopneck. Cappy was technically the vice chair, but she was my partner in crime as we led this process and could not have done it without her. To Claire Brownell, who handled much of the logistics and so much more with grace, poise, and wisdom. To Kevin Carroll and his whole team, who created the search video, the town halls, our communications, and again, much, much more. To all of those in the DU community who participated in the process, the hundreds who shared their input and their commitment to and passion for the University of Denver through the various vehicles I described, and the students, faculty, administrators, staff, alumni and trustees, and others who participated in the final interview process, who not only provided invaluable feedback, which was unanimous in support of our new chancellor, but also helped sell DU to all the finalists. To Alberto Pimentel and his whole team at Storbeck Pimentel. And finally, thanks to Trig for his leadership, his insights, and his extraordinary commitment to DU. With that, let me hand it back to Trig to introduce our 18th chancellor.
Thank you, Doug, and I'll make this very brief. Dr. Rebecca Chopp.
Thank you. I'm almost overwhelmed. I'm so honored and so enthusiastic about becoming the 18th Chancellor of the University of Denver. I'm honored because for 150 years, you've been educating students, turning out graduates of lives of meaning and purpose and accomplishment, and serving the public good. And I'm incredibly energized and enthusiastic because these are times of great change and times of incredible opportunity. And your kind of forward, innovative spirit just came through in the search so powerfully. And I want to thank Doug and Cappy and the search committee. I have to tell you, that first session, which was held in a hotel that the GPS could not find, I didn't know what that meant, but that first session was simply electrifying. This committee was incredibly well-versed in the changes in higher education and in this university. We discussed technology, demographics, internationalism, service learning, students, philanthropy. Everyone was fully engaged. I walked out of that room and I knew this was an incredibly special opportunity. And I do want to give just a moment of praise to the work of all of you in preparing the document that will guide, certainly, our future together. The notion that a university would take the time and take a serious look, looking at these times of change, looking at the opportunities, Analyzing yourselves with eyes wide open is really unique in my experience. So many universities are looking at one issue or the other. So many are not looking boldly, clearly, openly, and honestly. So the Strategic Issues panel, chaired, I know, by Jim, okay, I'm going to get his name right. I'm trying to, Gizmer, right? Grismer, sorry. I'll get the names all right, has really done a valuable service to this community, but I must say has also set a high bar for everyone else in American higher education. This document will serve us well, and it will serve American education well. Now, as some of you may know, I actually have been watching the University of Denver for over 20 years. It was about 20 years ago that I became provost at Emory, and I started my research in higher education. And I had joined Emory as a young faculty member at a time that it was really becoming national and transformational, and I got interested in universities like Emory and like University of Denver that were really expanding, that were really using their professional schools and their liberal arts cores and their graduate programs to become national and international. So I had the pleasure of watching, from afar, but one time visiting this campus, Dan Witchey build this campus, both literally and metaphorically. It was a phenomenal experience to watch the campus, this campus being rebuilt. And then for the last 9 years, I've admired deeply Bob Coombs and the deans and the faculty and all of the rest of you who have really brought about this academic renaissance. I was just talking with Bob and hearing these phenomenal statistics about the faculty-student ratio and the undergraduate level, about the excitement and the energy and the innovation going on in the university. In the last 24 hours, since the announcement has been made, I have gotten emails from faculty friends all over the country. This is how well your faculty is known. I now have a long list. Somebody from Yale writes me and says, make sure you look so-and-so. Someone from Berkeley says, you've got to visit this person's lab. Someone from Emory, many people from Emory, tell me about people in the law school or the business school. University of Denver is well known as an academic powerhouse, and that's thanks, I think, to Bob, the provost, the deans, who have done so much to bring about an academic renaissance. So it's exciting to have studied and researched the University of Denver. But during my interview, I learned so much more. I learned about the commitment to be a great private university dedicated to the public good. I think that's a powerful vision. In Bob's 2007 speech, he talks about how education and scholarship will carry the values of civic engagement, of ethics, of values. And this research university, this great place of education, will more and more serve the public good. I learned about the commitment of this university to diversity and inclusivity, that these values would be wedded together in every aspect of the university, and it would be all of our jobs to make sure that we're a place of inclusive excellence. This is so important for our life together, but it's also important to set that environment because every student who studies here needs to know how to work in a diverse, collaborative environment. We need it, they will need it for their future. I learned during the interview process and in doing lots of reading that this is a well-managed university in terms of finances, and I, for one, applaud that. By the way, if you haven't ever read one of your budget reports, this humanist wants to testify that they are incredibly well written. Incredibly so. And they're kind of a good introduction, always, each one of them, to how a university operates. And of course, I learned about the people. And I wish I could mention everyone that I'd met in the interview process. But let me just say, I really enjoyed meeting the provost, Greg Kivstad, who I know, because I was a former provost, the incredible difficulty and complexity of that job. And I appreciate the amount of work that goes on by Greg and the other vice chancellors and all of the administrative staff as they work to make this a place of true excellence. But most of all, what I learned in the interview process, and what I keep learning as I meet and talk with people, and I'm sure we'll learn again more today, is about the personality of this university. Nancy Cantor, a friend of mine, former chancellor at Syracuse and now at Rutgers Newark, talks about the soul of the university, by which she means that deep personality that really is the most special asset a university has. The University of Denver's has been described as energetic, integrity, passion, commitment, realism, forward-looking, optimism, resilience. And I've learned a lot about your history, not as much as I will know, but I'm beginning. I've learned about the times that you've struggled and the times that you've soared. Angela Duckworthy, who won one of the MacArthur Genius Awards last year, studies resiliency in individuals. She calls it grit. She says that grit is the most important characteristic of an individual in the 21st century. I think that's true for organizations as well. But it's not just about enduring. With resiliency, one has to have optimism, hope, and courage. And this soul, these traits, this personality, has anchored the university in its history and will guide it to its future. I'm incredibly pleased to join this university. I am humbled and I am proud. I am very honored. I'm delighted to be in Denver. Fred and I have adopted Denver as our home. We've been coming here for many years. I grew up in Kansas, and when you grow up as a child in Salina, Kansas, you think the Rocky Mountains in Denver is about the most spectacular place in the world. Finally, I've made it to Denver and the Rockies, and I'm happy to be with so many of my family members, and I'm really thrilled also to be around the best hiking trails, I think, in the world. We have a lot of work ahead of us. These are uncertain times. Higher education is in a period of rapid change, but we will work together. We will make this university even more what it is, and we'll build on our past, and together have a wonderful future, fulfilling our dreams and desires, and also making a mark on education nationally and internationally. So I'm awed by this responsibility, but I know you'll help. We're all in it together. I hope you'll let me know your thoughts. I read emails all the time. Send me emails, send me letters, send me your ideas. I can't wait to get started in September, but we can start talking now. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to our journey together ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Chopp. Really deep thanks. And before we conclude, I'd like to ask our retiring Chancellor, Bob Coombe, to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I will be very brief. Isn't she wonderful? She's just wonderful. Let me begin by simply saying thank you to virtually everybody in this room and the university community in general. You know, we've come an awfully long way together over the course of the last 9 years that I've been chancellor of this wonderful, wonderful institution. And I want to offer my personal thanks to the members of the Board of Trustees who've supported me so well in the course of those years, to my colleagues and friends among the leadership of the university, the administration, to the faculty, who I've been so proud to be one of for all of these 33 years, and to my dear, dear friends among the staff and some students that are present here as well today. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the University of Denver over these past years. Together we've accomplished a great deal. It's been all of us together. We've accomplished so much in bringing this institution to the wonderful, truly wonderful condition that it's in today. The quality, the impact that this institution has, I think all of us can take great, great pride in. The times are daunting ones. The future is a challenging one for certain. I mean, we read so often about the forces that are pressing on higher education, and the fact that the years to come are going to be years of such enormous change throughout the higher education world in the United States and the world, really. But for us, I think the watchword is opportunity. You know, those times ahead, the next several years, 5, 10 years, are times of extraordinary opportunity for us. Times of change have always, always been times of great opportunity for the University of Denver in particular, because of the spirit that Rebecca spoke to so well to, because of who we are. We need to seize those opportunities. We need to grab that future just as vigorously as we have the times past. And I must tell you that it is so personally pleasing to me as I depart this office, that we have found exactly the right leader for those times to come, exactly the right person. And so let me first offer my personal welcome to the 18th Chancellor of the University of Denver, Rebecca Chopp, and to Fred Thibodeau, her husband. Welcome to both of you. As members of the DU community, you're going to love it. The people here are just so extraordinary. The institution is just so extraordinary. It's one of those special, special places. So, welcome. I look forward to the coming years, not just because I'm retiring, but because I know where we are. I know the momentum that we have. I have enormous confidence in all of you, in all of the people here. I know where we can go. I know how much farther we can take this institution. I know the magnitude of the impact we can have on our students and on so many, many, many of our fellow human beings out there. Thank you for everything that you've done, and congratulations to the entire DU community on its new chancellor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. You know, as you and I prepare to step down, we're handing the reins to two remarkably capable people. Doug Scribner as the chair and Dr. Rebecca Chopp as our chancellor. And I would just have to say to all of you, this is a great day for DU. We now are going to have a reception outside. There's a tent, as you may have seen on your way in. and you are all obviously welcome there. Thank you for being here.